everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We are getting into some upsetting injuries that happened in the NBA world over the weekend. So subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Oops, sorry guys. That was my computer playing the live show already, but no, I silenced that. So here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. It's Monday, Devin. It's fine. Don't worry about it. That's how Monday starts sometimes.
It's true. And today is feeling like a very Monday-ish Monday. So perfectly fitting that would happen, especially after the weekend that we just had. So like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to be discussing Lamelo Ball and how he suffered that season-ending injury. We're also getting into LeBron James, who this is tragic news for me and Jackie, but he has that high ankle sprain. We're going to kind of discuss whether or not we felt like that was a dirty play by Solomon Hill. But Jackie, before we do that, how was your weekend? How are you feeling today? Are you going into Monday with good vibes and positive energy?
I am. I had an amazing weekend. So, I worked through the whole thing. One of these weekends, I'm going to just rest and not have to work or look for an apartment. But I don't know when that weekend's going to be because my next weekend's already a work weekend. But still, great work, stuff that I love doing. So it was a great weekend.
Nice. I'm very happy to hear that. You guys might notice I'm a little bit blonder, slightly blonder, got a little touch up. I needed it because my hair was like turning brown, even though I'm not even a natural brunette. So anyway, that was the highlight of my weekend, you guys. I also ate some really good food, had some delicious avocado toast, and of course, watched the games. But let's get into the news right now. Okay, so let's talk about Lamelo Ball. His season is looking like it's over thanks to a wrist injury that he suffered during Saturday's game against the Clippers. So even though he did hurt himself, he continued to play in the second half against the Clippers. That was after the fall happened. But then the Hornets announced that he had a fractured bone in his wrist, and they're officially listing him out as him is out indefinitely, and they're going to be continuously evaluating him. But for right now, it's looking like his season is over. Woj even confirmed that, saying he's expected to miss the rest of the season, though he is seeking a second opinion to confirm the diagnosis. Now, Lamelo Ball has been outperforming all the rookies in pretty much every stat all season. We have been very impressed with what he's been able to do. He's really, I feel like, exceeded a lot of our expectations. So this is devastating, not only for him and his team, but for his fans, and also because he was the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He was almost a shoo-in for that, and now that he's going to be missing the second half of the season, it sort of feels like obviously that Rookie of the Year title is no longer as guaranteed as it felt before. So, Jackie, what's your take on this? Do you think that they do need to consider the fact that Lamelo will be missing the remainder of the season when they are deciding who deserves Rookie of the Year? Do you think that Lamelo should still get it, or should they be looking at other options?
It entirely depends on what the rest of the rookies do to close out the season. I definitely think that he should still be in contention, and I think that everything he's done up until this point, because like you said, he is dominating across the board. When you look at the stats, it's Lamelo. So that's got to count for something. At the same time, though, I remember one of the things my track coach told me a long time ago is staying healthy is kind of a skill set too. No, you can't always control how you fall, or like we're going to be talking about next, who falls on you, anything like that. Sometimes you can't control that, but you also can't control who performs while you're not in the game. So if now, some of these other rookies step up, I think they should be in contention for that. But I just don't see anyone all of a sudden, now that Lamelo is out, I don't see anyone being a stat leader across the board. It'd be very, very difficult. I do think we might start hearing some other names, here and there, but across the board, very difficult. We're going to talk about, one player kind of rooting for his rookie specifically, and I'm all for that. I'm all for you wanting to root for your rookie. I'm all for you saying, hey, we need to capitalize on this opportunity to get your name in this conversation. That doesn't bother me at all. But ultimately, unless there's somebody that just kind of shows him up on every stat, I still think he he still has to be in contention. His name still has to be at the top of that conversation.
Yeah, it is. I know that last season you and I were really rooting for Zion, even though he was out for the majority of the season as well. So we clearly feel like missed games should not necessarily make it so that you're no longer involved in those conversations, because LaMelo truly did deserve it. I know we are getting into that tweet that you're talking about in the post-up, but I do want to discuss Anthony Edwards for a little bit, because he is kind of the second choice, I would say, to a lot of people. He has picked up momentum, especially over the last 10 games. He's averaging just under 25 points and 6.2 rebounds over the past 10 games. And I think that one thing to consider with him is that he went into the season expecting to have both D'Lo and Karl Anthony Towns acting as like his bigger scoring options. But I think so far he's only played in one game with the both of them on the court. So his situation, he's been kind of dealt this bad hand. Maybe had he been surrounded by a stronger roster, or, both of those two, more like star power type players, he would be able to have a better rookie season. But I understand why he is involved in those conversations. And, I guess we'll just see what happens. Let's jump back to LaMelo a little bit, because, this is his rookie season. He was having an impressive year. And now that he is suffering this injury and going to be missing the remainder of the season, how do you feel like this is going to impact him as a player? Is this kind of thing mentally taxing and hard to come back from, or is he going to bounce back just fine?
That always depends on the player. And I see you guys in the chat. A lot of people are saying, 30 games is a lot of games to miss to still be in contention for that, rookie of the year. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, with all that he's done, everything he's done has been just so amazing. He has been literally a showstopper. And I just don't think you can discount that just because he's gone. And I do also think that with how he's been playing, if he can just maintain the mindset, we've seen injuries. People come back from injuries differently. I've said it time and time again, and I'll probably say it 100 more times. When you recover from an injury, that's not just a physical recovery. It's a mental recovery as well, because you are spending time away from the game. You're spending time away from your trainers and doing your normal basketball regimen. So there's a lot that you need to kind of take into consideration mentally, because you got to get back into the game mentally as well. It's not just the physicality of it. But he's young enough for me to think that, no, this isn't good. And I know me saying that is kind of weird, because one of the players I'm always pulling for is Derrick Rose. And so he was young enough to come back from it too, and it kind of didn't pan out that way. But I think this is a totally different kind of injury. This isn't such a devastating injury. Hopefully it's not. I know he wants to get a second opinion as well, but I think this injury is not so horrible. So I think this is one of those things he can come back from fine. And the kid is 100% confident in self. Like, if you watch him play, if you don't know anything else about LaMelo, he is 100% confident in himself. So his mental road to recovery is going to be much, much shorter than anybody else's. So I don't think that this is going to mess with him. I think that it just put a little pause button on what he's doing. But when he's back in the game, he's going to be 100% of what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, you brought up something that I also wanted to mention about LaMelo, is that this kid has confidence for days. I mean, he is like unaffected by anything, it seems like. And I think that when you consider his upbringing, just even having LeVar as a dad who has been getting into fights with his coaches since he was a kid, playing in, not even like competitive leagues. LaMelo had to learn how to overcome these little obstacles that were probably pretty small, but they still presented challenges to him. Dealing with the dad who's yelling at the coaches, and then going off and playing in Lithuania. He's already been in this pro ball kind of mindset, and then going to Australia. I feel like he kind of has a lot of mental strength where he is able to push through things that might be difficult for somebody his age, or so I feel like if anybody can come back from an injury and still be the same kind of player, it's LaMelo Ball. But of course there are other athletes who don't have that same sort of, I don't know what it is, like strength or whatever, commitment or confidence. I think that LaMelo will be just fine. Jackie, do you agree with me when I say that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like, he's not. We've never seen him have to overcome an injury, so this is new territory for him. This is uncharted water for him. So he doesn't know how this is going to look. But he's 100% confident in who he is as a player. So for him, this is probably just a hiccup more than anything else. And which is why he said personally, I am going to get a second opinion because he wants to be able to play. So when he's that mentally sound in his resolve to be on the floor, I still 100% think that his confidence, his desire to be on the floor he's gonna be fine. He's not gonna have any issues at all.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about LeBron James. So he was diagnosed with a high ankle sprain after Solomon Hill went for a loose ball in the second quarter in their game this weekend. He rolled over LeBron's ankle, and it obviously injured LeBron. He had to leave the game early. Leo, can we throw that video up there right now? So here you can see it happen. I want to play it a couple times, you guys. Let's play it a couple times because I want to know, I want you guys to get a good hard look. I want us all to think about for a second, was this intentional by Solomon Hill? Was this just basketball? Was it an accident? The fall on LeBron looked really, really bad. I didn't like seeing that happen. But let's move on. So people were criticizing Solomon Hill, saying that it was an intentional move. It was a dirty play. I'm going to read out some tweets that I saw. But first, he did respond to all of the allegations, saying that he would never disrespect the game and take a player out personally. He knows that. That's all that matters to me, praying for a speedy recovery. But people were responding to that tweet saying things like, there's a big difference between playing hard and reckless. This tweet comes a little bit later, Leo. Some people reacted to that saying there's a big difference between playing hard and reckless. If your reasoning is everybody else's mantra, diving for loose balls, even if it means hurting others, you have no place in the game. Another said LeBron is in the middle of his MVP season, and here you are doing some dirty ass dive from the side where no one else is doing that for obvious reasons. After the game, Trez said that he felt that Solomon Hill did not make a basketball play when diving on the floor and going through LeBron's legs trying to get the steal. He thought it should have been reviewed by the refs and that Solomon Hill should have received more of a punishment than a common foul. And then, Leo, can we throw up that last tweet for us? Because another guy said that Solomon was in his mentions a few months ago, arguing that Michael Jordan is a better player than LeBron, and now he straight up threw his body and rolled over on Bron's ankle. What do y'all think? So here is this mention that this person is talking about, and Solomon Hill did this whole thing about, Michael Jordan burned an image into every player's head of the ultimate dream, and basically was just showing his support for Michael Jordan being the best ever versus LeBron James. So he apparently is a big Michael Jordan fan, which that's something that people argue about all the time. So, Jackie, let's jump in. What was your reaction to this play? Was it intentional? Was it an accident? Tell me all of your thoughts.
So obviously I was watching this game. And my first reaction when I saw it was immediate anger, but it was not at Solomon. It was at Frank Vogel, because I have been saying for a while now that giving LeBron James the kind of minutes that you're giving him at 36, knowing, check the tapes. How many times have I said, if you're going to make a deep playoff run, if you sincerely want to make a run at going back to back, the only way you can do that is with a 100% healthy LeBron James and a 100% healthy Anthony Davis. So you insist on playing LeBron in games. Now, in some interviews, you'll say, hey, we're all about keeping Anthony Davis safe. If we win a couple here and there and slide in the rankings, that's fine. But then at the same time, you want to have LeBron go out there and play 36, 38 minutes. That doesn't make an ounce of sense. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. You can't just say Anthony Davis is your end-all, be-all when time and time again we've seen we need both of them on the floor to do this. So my immediate anger went straight towards Frank Vogel. It had nothing to do with Solomon. Looking at the play, I would have made the same play. And I get what people are saying. You don't always want to go for the ball, but when your mindset is get the ball is loose, let me go for it. Yes, I would have probably made the same play. Maybe I could see where people are saying, maybe he could have been a little bit more mindful because he sees that body coming. So maybe it's one of those things where you pull back a lot. That's a big ask. I say that in football all the time when you're expecting these 200-pound guys who are going full speed to redirect from full on hitting a quarter. That's a big ask when you're moving at real-time speed and gravity. There's this thing called gravity. So I don't know. That is a big ask. So I don't think he did this intentionally. His comments about Jordan mean nothing to me, probably because Jordan doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But that doesn't mean anything to me. You know, him having his fandom for one specific person, and you want to convince me that in that moment in time he's thinking to himself, let me do it for Jordan. Absolutely not. I don't think that is an actual thing. I don't think that this was a dirty play. I get how we feel, you know, especially us who are diehard LeBron sexuals. I get how we feel. I do, because if you touch if I see you on the street, I'm not speaking to you because you hurt my boy, but looking at it's basketball, and it wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have been overplaying LeBron. He doesn't need to be in there every single run. And this was a Frank Vogel. This is Frank Vogel's fault. It's Frank Vogel's fault. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, and we've been saying this for pretty much the whole season, I feel like, or especially, you know, in the last few months, LeBron does need to take some time off and take some time to rest, and it needs to be up to Frank to tell him to do that. And if he was limiting his minutes, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Maybe we wouldn't have our star player, LeBron James, out with a high ankle sprain. I watched this play so many times this morning, just trying to see, is it possible it was intentional? And I agree with you 100%. I feel like it was purely accidental. And I do see what people are saying, like, you shouldn't come in from the side, whatever. But basketball is a fast-paced game. Everything is moving very quickly. And to expect these players to have their eye on the ball, but then also be able to make these snap decisions about when they should or shouldn't dive for a ball, like, sometimes it just happens because it is so speedy and things are moving so quickly. And if you take a second too long to wonder if you should go for the ball, you'll lose it. So I understand why Solomon Hill did that, why he dove for the ball. And it really, really sucks that it left LeBron injured. That is every Lakers fan's nightmare right now, especially in the second half of the season. So I don't know. I just felt like it was, people were making a really big deal out of it. Would you even, so obviously we don't think that this was some sort of intentional move to hurt LeBron, but would you say it was reckless, Jackie, or do you not even feel that it was reckless?
Again, it depends on how you look at it. If you're one of those people who say, you know, hey, this is a non-contact sport, and when the ball is like that and you see a body in front of you, you're not supposed to dive for the ball. If that is your mindset, then I can't win that argument with you, because that's just your mindset. I can just tell you, when I was playing ball, I would have done the same thing. And y'all know how much I love LeBron, and I would feel like complete doggy do right now if I had injured him. But I would have made the exact same play, because we've seen this exact play end up in a jump ball sometimes. We've seen this exact same play end up in the ball ricocheting off of someone's foot, and now you have a chance to make a play on the ball. So what's he supposed to do? Not make a play on the ball. The ball actually becomes completely loose, and then now he's the guy that had a chance to get the ball, but he didn't. He's playing basketball. So it just depends on where you fall on that. And typically, if you fall on the side of, oh, he should have never come in from the side to get the ball, then I'm going to guess you've never actually played, because that is a lot of thought process to go in when you see the ball might potentially come loose. And now all of a sudden you got to do this whole thing of algebra in your head. Like, if I go for it here, I'm going to land here, and that's going to hit his ankle here. Nobody's doing that in real time. It's just not how your mind works in real time. So I get what people are saying. And again, people who say that and they believe that this is supposed to be a 100% non-contact sport, you know, I can't argue that with you, because you're not watching enough of the game and you clearly haven't played it. I think he probably feels horrible about it, because I do think a lot of people dislike, even if he did dislike LeBron, the fact of the matter is he is a legend. He is an icon in the game. He is LeBron freaking James. And you don't want to be the guy that took him out. You just don't. Regardless of how you feel about him, you don't want to be that guy. So I do not believe at all that this was intentional. I think it's unfair that he's getting this flack, and because you just don't want to be that kind of monster. You just don't.
Right. And that's coming from two LeBron fans over here, you guys. So, I mean, I think that just goes to show, like, we're team LeBron in almost every situation. So I want to read some of these chats or comments that came in. So Robert McGill said, accidents happen. These trolls are threatening Solomon Hill over a play. Solomon didn't have any intent of injuring LeBron. These trolls need to get a life. Agree 1,000%. But this guy, Top Seed, has said some controversial things in there. So I just want to call him out really quickly. He said, if you would have did that same plate, it's reckless. It doesn't matter what the intent is. Every male that plays basketball knows that. I don't know if you ladies are looking at it from a feminine viewpoint, but it's that guy's fault, point blank. I don't know what being a man or woman has to do with any of this.
What is this person's name? What's his name?
Top seed.
Top seed. What position did you play when you was balling out of control to make this kind of statement and make it because we're feminine? Tell me what position you played. Tell me how many points you averaged a game. Tell me how many rebounds you averaged a game. How many assists? The hell are you talking about, my guy? Stand down. You're doing too much, and you clearly don't know what you're talking about. So stop it. And before you tell me your position you played, I need you to screenshot your stats and send them over to you before we really consider anything you say going forward. You playing games.
DM her, J Ray the Fanatic on Instagram, you guys. So top seed, send over those stats because we need to see if you're legit. But also, if he is trying to say it's a male versus female perspective, wouldn't the men think that the more aggressive move is okay? Why would the feminine be like, oh yes, we approve of the aggression or whatever it is? Something's not adding up here. So I just wanted to call that one out there because I thought it was funny. And then Alex King says, I don't think it was intentional, but just a very unfortunate accident. Could have hard-hitting damage to the team, though. And then Doug says, he's an aggressive defensive player. He's in the game for his defense. Play wasn't dirty. That's how he gets his minutes, playing hard D. So, it seems like I'm actually surprised to see that the chat is agreeing with us so much, Jackie, because on Twitter it really felt like the opposite. A lot of people were dragging Solomon and just not giving him any sort of benefit of the doubt. But I think just if you take a look at it, it's obvious that there wasn't the intention to take LeBron out. So there's that.
I don't know if you guys saw that. He's literally wincing at the end. Like he's somewhat going for the ball and he's somewhat preparing for the hit. That's not, if you're doing something intentional, you're not wincing at the end. You're just going to take that hit and keep going. This was not an intentional thing. It was unfortunate and it sucks, and I'm really devastated behind it. I was hurt. It messed up my whole, messed up every moment after that. So, but again, if we had been limiting his minutes, because then you have to wonder, we've seen these kinds of hits before and yeah, they have to sit out a game or two, but but they're strong, and so they've been working out well enough or whatever, and they're strong. When you're playing 36 to 38 minutes a game at 36, that's what I was trying to say before. Injuries are harder to come back from at 36, just period. But when you're out there playing damn near the whole game, it's just harder. He shouldn't have, it's just one of them things. It's just one of them things, man. And I can't say enough how mad I am at Frank Vogel for this whole situation.
Yep. I am too. LaMelo's going to bounce back from his injury, but LeBron at 36, it's not going to be such a smooth road to recovery. And again, if he is serious about playing with Bronny in a few years, get it together, LeBron and Frank Vogel. You guys need to just chill out a little bit. My God. Anyway, let's wrap up Need to Know News. Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes, let's get into this first one, because if y'all really want to talk about something that is definitely no question, we all are going to realize this is shady, then I'm going to present to you Mr. D'Angelo Russell, because first of all, y'all know that shade just follows this man. I feel like he walks around with an umbrella all the time because this man always got some sort of shade that he is doing. I get his intentions in this one, but we know we've talked about that at the top of the show. What does this mean for the other rookies now that LaMelo's out of the game? And so D'Angelo goes to his Twitter and he says, of course, Anthony Edwards, Rookie of the Year, and he's like bored now because now this automatically means that Anthony Edwards is going to get this. So let me just say this. On the one side, I do think that this puts Anthony Edwards kind of higher in the running for this, and I'm not mad if he wins it. But you tweeted this right after LaMelo went out. That is so... I don't even know how to say that. I'm not mad at you for rooting for your teammate. I'm not mad at that, but the timing is just off. And if you don't know, this season, D'Angelo has missed the majority of his games because he has a left knee injury of some sort, and he gets kicked off just about every team he's on for doing something shady most of the time. So this maybe say less. This might be a say less moment, but of course fans were pissed off, as they rightfully should be. I love this one. This one says, "This is why I can't stand you. Have fun freezing in the ice tundra that is Minnesota." My guy, again, the timing of it. So then we have a couple more where fans were just mad. And this one is kind of the one that I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand what you're saying because he says, y'all soft, bruh. He's rooting for his teammate. And another person asked, do you think that was his intentions? I personally think yes. I think that was his intentions to root for his teammates, but I still think the timing is horrendous. So this one is funny. He says, bro, PR still ain't let him delete this tweet. And that's the funny thing. If you go to Dangelo's Twitter right now, this tweet is still up. Everybody's talking about the shade that comes along with it. He don't care. D'Lo's like, I'm gonna leave this tweet up. Devin, this tweet, the fact that it came out right after LaMelo got hurt, is he rooting for his teammate or is this just shade? Or is it both?
It's both, but I thought that it was very poorly timed. I thought it was insensitive. Not that I'm expecting NBA players to be sensitive to one another, but like, this is so devastating and tragic for LaMelo to now have a season-ending injury when it was a truly breakout impressive year for him. And for that to be D'Lo's first response, I think that it would have even been 1,000 times better if he sent out a tweet that said, you know, prayers up, brother, or whatever it is, and then said Anthony Edwards Rookie of the Year. Whatever you like, yes, root for your teammate. We love that. That's great. But this was just lame, I thought. This was not a good move. I thought it was really rude, and I think he deserves the dragging that he's been getting.
Yeah, I agree too, because it's like, yeah, my guy, root for your, but you can't root for your teammate while you're simultaneously cheering at someone's downfall. That's, I don't know. Home training 101, guys. I know your mama taught you that, D'Angelo. Be better. So let's just move on to this next one because this is a great clapback by Klay to Kevin Durant, and I think it's great. But first, let me show you this video. If y'all are wondering how Klay is doing, your boy about to be out here 100% Klay. Check it out.
Going a 3-ball. Will never leave you. Pure water. Oh yeah, sneak her in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on.
I really could have done without that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on.
This is crazy. His last one, he ended up missing, and then he kind of got upset about that. But all those shots, he only missed one. Love to see that. Of course, the Warriors posted that on their social media, and then they posted Klay's caption to it where he said, "Oh, you know, it's kind of like water." So I'm going to show you that exchange because KD responded to that. So Klay responded to the Golden State Warriors posting, and he says, best part about my rehab each day is no jumping jumpers, aka the easiest rebounding for Zaza will ever have to do. Always put the money rack in the corner, long loaf and all that. He says, I'm so bored. That's the best one. He's literally letting you know he's so bored. And then, of course, KD responded with ain't nothing changed. And Klay clapped back and said, my 2K game is so trash right now, bro. I'm so deep in the hole. Mikey, there's no end in sight. And for some reason, I can't make a jumper with you, bro. It makes no sense. I love this with Klay and KD. I love seeing his sense of humor. We all love Klay. I think we talk about that all the time. It's impossible not to love that man because he's just a dope guy. And I'm excited to see him come back because he's going to breathe life back into the Warriors. It's going to be too late, but you know, it's going to be good to see him back. But let me move on to this hilarious moment in time, which I know you guys all saw. And shouts out to every single comedian on Instagram and on TikTok who voiced over this situation with Joe Biden. If you did not see Joe Biden tripping upstairs, let me just give you it's the whole on for me. Like, oh, I'm struggling. Let me both hands. This is stupid. I love this. And he was like, let me just hit him with this hard salute. Let him know I'm okay. I'm good. I love this whole thing. It is hilarious to me. And I said it was Manti Te'o's girlfriend that kind of did this whole thing to Joe Biden, but this is much, much better than what I thought in my head. Somebody's blaming this cross up on Steph because they got him all on the stairs like, oh, yo. And it makes sense. Joe Biden thinking about Steph in his dreams. And he's like, oh, I should have zigged when I should have zagged. And so it was hilarious. But A lot of people are like, hey, don't make fun of Joe Biden because he giving out money. So this one person said, this is how we treat the dudes that give you a stimmy. I know you talking about 45 in there, but I'm just going to mentally skip over that part. But this next Twitter user was the best. He says, when Joe Biden finally sees all the memes, oh, okay, no more stimmy for y'all. I love y'all. Joe Biden, you gave me this moment in time. Y'all on Twitter is petty as hell. I just want to say I love all of y'all right now because I loved every piece of that. But still give me my stimulus check. But fun fact, you guys, I don't know if any of you guys are in the chat. If you didn't get the stimulus last time, I talked about this on the show, pre-show with my team here. You can't get it this time. So even if your financial situation has changed, you're not getting that stimulus. Boo hiss! But that's a personal thing. But let's move on to this one, guys, because if you didn't know, the sad and tragic truth is that the Rockets have lost 20 games in a row. 20 L's in a row. That is, I've never in my life had a time where I've lost 20 games in a row. It is crazy. Coach Silas, I want to show you this tweet before I actually show you the video because you can just see the defeat all over this man and how dejected. And that's what this person posted. He says, this is how Stephen Silas' press conference started. The dejection in this man is feeling is off the charts and it's hard to watch. So I just want to play. It's going to be a lot of silence, but I need y'all to prepare yourself because if y'all ever want to know what defeat looks like, I'm going to give you Coach Silas. This is tragic. Take a look.
Hey, Coach. Tough one as the streak kind of continues. Did you feel your team getting, tight at all down the stretch? Do you feel like the weight of these losses is kind of building?
Yeah.
He had to take a deep breath just to say, yeah. Man, that just hurt my whole heart. I was like, oh my God, we got to go give this man a hug, send him a care package, do something. That man is so hurt over the situation in Houston right now. But there is a consolation prize. It's not the best consolation in the world, but there is a consolation prize. Clutch Points posted this. The Rockets have lost 20 straight games, but still aren't the worst team in the West. Timberwolves, what you doing? So the Timberwolves are way down there at 10-32. Rockets are 11-30. That is, wow. I know. Like, what else do you say to that except for wow, my guy? Wow. Like James Harden sitting somewhere right now, just stroking his beard, like y'all should have.
But what should they have done? Because they did everything that James Harden wanted. What should they have done? But that I watched that Stephen Silas video before we went live, and oh my God, like I felt that. I felt it deep in my soul. I feel so bad for him.
Right. Like I'm like, is there somebody we can call? Like, can we help you in some way? That was the worst. It was. He needs like a therapy session or something. Like I think he needs to sit one-on-one with a counselor and just like let his feelings out because oof, that was a heavy silence there. It was. And the sad thing is like what if not only are they having these 20 losses in a row, what if he's got some personal issues in his life as well? So he's just not winning anywhere. It's too much. It's too much. I hope he's winning in everything else he does in life because not winning in Houston. So let's get into this next one. We talk a lot about LeVar Ball. Actually, we haven't talked about him as much as we used to because he's been staying quiet, which I think we all appreciate. But he does explain why he didn't want Lamelo in Golden State. And I do not 100% disagree with his statement. So let me just post this tweet up here. And he says, all right, LeVar on ESPN 710 LA with Michael Thomas. Why didn't you want LaMelo? I didn't told y'all about this. Why didn't y'all want LaMelo to play with Golden State Warriors? And LeVar said, I called Steve Kerr the Milli Vanilli of coaching. He called me the Kardashian of basketball. Steve Kerr does nothing but stand there. I really like Steve Kerr. I've said this time and time again. I like him. I like his vocals. I like the way that he pulls the team together. But as far as his coaching, especially, I think he's more exposed now for the lack of coaching he does. And a lot of people on Twitter kind of feel the same way. So let me show you some of these tweets. And this is exactly why. And this is why we think Steve Kerr is good is because the team Mark Jackson built up won the championship, yet with these same the same team Luke Walton went 39-4 with, major accomplishment from Kerr. So I think that that's one of those things where, yeah, you walked into a dope situation. So all you really had to do was stand there and reap the benefits. You didn't have to do like a whole lot. It was already in place. It was just kind of given to you. We got a couple more tweets about what people think about this. One person said, LeVar, you are so right. I wonder why the Warriors and Myers don't see it that way, because this is a fact. Again, it's hard to tell. But this next tweet is the exact reason why I think now we kind of can see who Steve Kerr is, because he says, LOL, LeVar is at it again. Kerr is one of the best coaches in the league. This one, he's basically saying, it's not your fault you're asking Oubre and Wiggins to hit perimeter shots, basically the one thing they can't do. So he's trying to basically say LeVar is crazy, but literally proves LeVar's point. Because if this is things that these guys can't do, guess what you're supposed to do as a coach? Give them something they can do. Change up the scheme. Because I get that this is who the Warriors are, but this isn't who you are right now because you don't have the personnel to be that. So you have to coach them up from that. At least I think so. So I think that last user, even though they tried to throw shade at LeVar, I think they ended up proving the point that Steve Kerr isn't out there doing what he's supposed to do. Devin, what do you think? Do you think that last tweet?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that last tweet, I felt the same thing. I'm like, because reading it, it's like, yeah, I know what you're trying to say here, but you are proving the point. I think that, this is something that I do sort of agree with LeVar on as well. It's easy to look like a good coach when you have a great team. I mean, it's the same thing like with Steve Nash. First time coaching, he's got a great team. They're doing super well. Is that a testament to his coaching style or just the fact that he has a great roster of players? I wouldn't go so far as to say Steve Kerr does nothing but stand there, but I think that it's easy to, again, look like a good coach when you have a great team.
Yeah, absolutely. When all you have to do is make chemistry gels, it's much easier than actually having to coach guys up, especially coach them into doing something that you see that they can't do. It's a much harder position to be in when you actually have to coach guys into a different situation. So I totally agree with LeVar on this one. Ooh, I hope that never happens again. But in this moment in time, I actually agree with LeVar Ball. But let's go into this next one, because I know you guys, if you guys have done a March Madness bracket, I know all of us are out. There's no way. All of us are out. But Abilene head coach Joe Golden, he was absolutely ecstatic when they won by 1 point over Texas. And he out here doing the dance, y'all. Y'all take a look. Let me know. Did he nail it or not? I think he got it.
I said rain for the pre, I'm with that evil. Look around, stay low, that's all I don't see. Get some bad walk down, facing with that evil. But does under your feature, I'm the one that see. Stress me when I can't sleep, man, when I see you.
To be fair, it's really hard to mess up that dance, but I think he did a really good job. But they actually play UCLA today. I got UCLA in that game. Y'all let me know in the chat if I'm going to be. It doesn't matter now because my bracket is shot, so it doesn't matter. But I got UCLA in that game. Y'all let me know if you got UCLA as well. But like I said, this March Madness thing is in full swing, and all of us are probably out specifically because of that Ohio State losing to Oral Roberts University. For those of y'all who don't know, Oral Roberts is an evangelist. That is a school that's supposed to be about going out and spreading the word, not winning basketball games. This is weird. So all of us are pretty pissed off about this whole situation. But you guys, if you don't know, EJ Liddell, he's great. He's been the kind of the backbone of the Ohio State for a long time. He did not have a bad game. He scored 23 points. He did fine. He did miss that free throw, though, that could have given them the win. And people, I mean, he's a kid, you guys. That's a lot of pressure, especially for kids. It's his first time probably in that situation. And this kid, he kind of choked under the pressure. It's a learning experience, but y'all gave him the business. And he had to post this to his Twitter, which really broke my heart. He said, honestly, what did I do to deserve this? I'm human. Comments don't get to me, but I want to know why. I've never done anything to anyone in my life to be approached like this. This is not me saying anything negative about Ohio State fans. I love y'all dearly, and I felt nothing but appreciated since the first day I stepped on campus, except for the other day. That's when they did. Let me show you some of these messages that he got to in his Instagram. Now, you don't have to read these. These are obviously restricted people, but this guy calls him an effing loser, tells him he's an embarrassment to even be on Instagram. He calls him a fat F, calls him a POS, and he says you're shooting 1-1 to win the game, and you're a disgrace. Don't ever show your face at Ohio State. We hate you. I hope you die. I really do. It's a game. This is so crazy to me. This next one, he says, calls him a goofy. He says he folded like make the free throw, you clown, and then he calls him a goofy N-word. I hope you. It's too much. It's a lot. It's a lot. I just can't imagine going out there and playing the game that you love, and then your fellow classmates, because these are Ohio State fans that took time to DM him on Instagram. Devin, what are your thoughts on this one?
I feel so bad for him, and his tweet that he sent, like, I'm human. What did I do to deserve this? It really breaks my heart, because we know that a lot of these athletes, even these young college athletes, they're probably getting messages like this a lot from weird fans at their school and all of that. And probably most of them are trying to ignore it, because that's what they always say: ignore the haters, don't respond to the trolls. But, when you have somebody come out and say, what did I do to deserve this? It really makes you sit back and think, like, yeah, why are people so awful? And how embarrassing to be the person that's sending that message when you go to the same school, most likely. The type of person that sends a message like this is the kind of guy that has, like, Cheeto dust on his fingers perpetually, and, like, a drool coming out of the corner of his mouth, because they're just, wait.
Exactly. I pulled it. I did. I was like, because to make him feel better, I'm like, there's got to be somebody. And there's like, the guys who do that usually look like this. So this is exactly right.
That's so funny. That was perfect timing. I didn't even realize that you put anything like that in there. Yeah, they're always the weirdos.
Like, Leo with the perfect shot. He was like, I got you. But yeah, it's always like, at the end of the day, people forget it's a game, number one. And number two, these are kids. So, I guess on the flip side, it's probably kids that are tweeting this, but it's kids that probably don't have an athletic bone in their body. So this is the part where you should really say less. But let's get into this next one, because Nick Young, let me just remind you guys, if you don't know, Nick Young has a daughter. Okay, let that sink in for a second. Nick Young has a daughter, but he still went to his Instagram and he posted this. I didn't see it this morning when I went to look, so maybe he took it down, but that's okay, because ESPN grabbed it on a screenshot. It says, so he responded to ESPN talking about the same thing we were talking about last week, the women not getting the same accommodation as the men. And so he says, man, y'all not bringing in the big bucks. Y'all the JV team, and it's cool. What? So now you see this next tweet from Stanley05 that says, I hope all your kids are boys, and I truly hope they can play. Lord knows if you have to sit down with a daughter and tell her you're not a money maker, so be cool with that. Like, what would you do? In case you don't know who Stanley05 is, that is Dawn Staley. She is a WNBA Hall of Famer. She's actually also a coach for South Carolina, and they just won. So now that's her 500th career win. And they won in the first round in the NCAA tournament. So obviously this woman knows what it's like to be on the receiving end of people thinking you're less than just because you're a woman. And so I fully expected to go into Twitter and see a whole bunch of people seeing this on ESPN's tweet and then them clapping back at Nick Young. When I tell you, the only people that clapped back were women. But the vast majority, and I spent about 20 minutes looking through tweets, the vast majority of men agreed. This man says, I got daughters, and he's right. That hurt my heart, again, because now you got to explain to your daughter why you think she's less than. Like, how do you explain to your daughter that, you know what, go watch your brother play because you ain't the moneymaker? How do you even make that make sense? But another Twitter user came in and he said he's not wrong at all, but they definitely deserve way better facilities than that. So again, when you got to say, but my dad always have to say, well, I agree, but just don't say whatever comes after, because you're just going to negate everything that came into the front half of that sentence, because you're basically saying he's not wrong. He's not wrong. This is so troubling to me. Somebody else posted this. to remind people that Nick Young has had this mindset for a long time. And this is back in 2018. He says, I promise if IG models made it to the WNBA, they would be lit in the bag. I said it first. So he's basically saying that they're a JV squad and they're not attractive. If they were more attractive and half clothed and, you know, doing whatever these IG models do, then you guys would watch because they're half naked and attractive. Devin, so let's fast forward, and now Nick Young's daughter is, say, 13, and now she's seriously wanting to play, and she's thinking about the WNBA. She gets her first moment in the media spotlight, because, you know, the second somebody if this girl plays basketball, the second she gets media attention, all these tweets are coming back up. How does Nick Young explain this if that happens?
I don't know. I don't know how you explain this. How are you a father to daughters and you still feel validated and justified in saying something that is so just like anti-woman almost. Not anti-woman, but it's just like, here you are saying like, oh, no, you deserve what you get because you don't make as much money, you're not as good, you don't look the right part. This is why Kobe was so amazing for women's basketball. You know, he never ever tried to draw attention to the fact that, you know, maybe the WNBA is not making as much money, or maybe, you know what, like, he never was criticizing these women. All he did was uplift them. And is it so hard for a male athlete or a man in general to just look at women and say, yeah, let me do what I can to support you. Let me do what I can to make sure that you're getting the treatment that you deserve. I don't understand why men have to come out here and try and do things that bring women down. Are you threatened? Like, what is it? I don't get it. And to me, this is something that he'll never be able to adequately explain, and he's probably going to have to apologize for it one day when his daughter is old enough and pursuing basketball, because I feel like that's a common thing for these kids of NBA players to do. They do go into basketball because that's what their dad did. So yeah. I don't know how he explains it. I thought it was really just kind of gross that he would write that and feel okay writing something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's gross and very small-minded. And I got to be honest, I'm disappointed to see that a lot of the men in our chat right now are of the same mindset. So I don't know what men need to do to become better people, because clearly having a daughter is not one of them. Hector said the only female athlete I would ever spend money to go see is Serena. He agrees with the sentiment. And it's just unfortunate. And because the thing is, you guys probably have never watched the WNBA, because I've said it before and I've said it again. Yes, they don't dunk. But if you really want to watch fundamentally sound basketball, as far as ladies going out there, knowing what role they're playing, knowing what spot they're supposed to be at, and actually running plays, then you see that in the WNBA. You don't see that as much in the NBA. And it's just unfortunate. And this, let me tell y'all something that my dad told me. This is a mini what we're not going to do. What we're not going to do is bash something without offering a solution. My dad used to always tell me that. Don't say the WNBA is trash or female athletes are trash. If you can't say, you know what, maybe we need to get more games for the WNBA on TV so people can actually watch them, because that's the main thing. We don't ever get to see them. Offer a solution. Don't just be this male chauvinistic pig that just says, oh, it's because they're women, and leave a period at that and don't say anything else. Y'all need to do better. Maybe have a conversation with your mom. Build a better relationship with your mom and your sisters. Do something, but be better. But nonetheless, that did not matter, because the NCAA did hear all the gripes and the complaints, and they responded in kind, and I am excited about that. So take a look at this video.
Guess what, guys? We got a weight room, yeah! We got a ton more dumbbells. Look at that. Look at all these racks for squats and whatever we want to do. We got a bunch of bands. Look at this, guys. And we got some equipment.
And that's all I'm saying. That still, those facilities aren't as elaborate as the male facilities, but that's exactly what I was saying. You can't give them some Amazon 30-pound weight set and call it a day. You have to give them something that's at least comparable. I'm not saying it needs to be 100% the same, but I'm saying you have to respect them as athletes. And if you're giving the men something that they need as athletes, women still need the same thing. So shouts out to us, because I really believe it is social media that made the NCAA do this, because they could have done this on their own. So I'm not giving them a shout out in that respect, but shout outs to those of us who really felt it was important to be vocal for these women to help them get what they deserve into that facility. So shouts out to us. So let me go ahead and get into this what we're going to do, because I could just do a whole what we not going to do on the chat right now, but I'm not, because I got a whole what we not going to do planned out. So let me just tell you guys, if you don't know, my birthday was November 9th, right? So on November 9th, this whole article came out about this upcoming season in the NBA. It had interviews with a lot of health professionals in the NBA, and they were very concerned. They were concerned with how quickly we were coming back, and they thought that that was going to amount to some injuries, because not only were we coming back so quickly, the training camp was going to be very, very short. So I did find it super ironic that one of the ways to kind of make up for that short time to come back and the short training camp was Adam Silver had said, okay, well, you know what? We're going to give you this break. We're not going to actually have an all-star game. Instead, we understand that we're coming back quickly. We're going to give you a break. They didn't. And we all know that they didn't because of the money. That's the same reason that they wanted to come back quickly as well, is because of the money. So now here we are. Everyone said this might happen, and now we have a ton of injuries. And it's because the NBA tried to jump onto this situation way too quickly for the sake of money. I don't know if it would have been truly detrimental to say, hey, you know what? Our timeline might just be off for the next year or two, because we have to give these athletes who are playing this full running back and forth the entire game, we need to give them time to do that. So I acknowledge that from a financial standpoint, it does make sense to come back when they did. I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm not going to say that I don't grasp that concept. The concept that I think that they don't grasp is people watch for their superstars. So Lamelo in his own right is bringing all this attention, and everyone wants to see, is this going to be the ball brother that finally fulfills the destiny that everyone thought Lonzo was going to be? Is this going to be the rookie of the year like we thought Lonzo was going to be? So you got attention there. People watch LeBron. You know, people love Trey Young. People love these certain players, and it doesn't put you in a good position if they're in a situation where they can't play because you did not give them adequate time that we know athletes need to be healthy. So let me just read some of these off for you guys, because now we know LeBron is out because of an ankle. LaMelo is out because of a wrist. KD is out because of a hamstring. Steph is out because of a tailbone. James Wiseman is out for a couple of days for COVID protocols. Trey Young is out with a bruised right quad, but he will hopefully play tonight. Fingers crossed. Cam Reddish is out for 4 to 6 weeks with an Achilles injury. And not only is LaMelo out, Terry Rozier is day-to-day. Cody Zeller is day-to-day. Patrick Beverly and Serge Ibaka are out. Giannis is day-to-day with a soft tissue sprain. Lonzo is day-to-day with a hip injury. JJ Redick is out with a heel injury. Derrick Rose and Austin Rivers are both out. Steph Curry, I always say Steph Curry is Seth Curry is out and Joel Embiid are out. And my boy, Rudy Gobert is day-to-day as well. That is a ton of people that when you take them out of the game, all of a sudden the game is not as good. And now it's like, do I really want to watch? Do I really want to watch the Lakers, who, by the way, were winning last night? Well, they weren't winning. The score was 34-38. I decided to wash my hair. By the time I got done washing my hair and ready to put conditioner on, it was 38-53. That's not an enjoyable game to watch. That is not a fun game to watch. So if you're coming back for money, part of the money that you're getting is from viewership. Now, when your star guy is hurt, or when you know the Lakers might be getting, let me take the mic back, will be getting blown out until LeBron and AD get back, then why am I watching? So now you're going to start to lose viewership. So I feel like you kind of shot yourself in the foot. So what we're not going to do in the future is, you can't just look at the money. The money has to make sense. If we get this money now, will we be losing money on the back end? You have to kind of think about things like that, because your money comes from your players. Putting your players in a position to get hurt is just not smart. So I think Adam Silver and the guys really did a disservice to not only the players, but to the game, and definitely to the fans, because we're not getting the level of basketball that we deserve as fans who stuck with you through this whole debacle. I feel like we deserve better. But Devin, what do you think? Do you think that Adam Silver and the powers that be need to kind of take more responsibility for the plethora of injuries that we are seeing in the league right now?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do, and this is something that would happen. Going into the season. Ooh, sorry, there's a bad echo again. This is something that we thought would happen going into the season. We knew that with the shortened off season that there were going to be players that were going to get injured when they otherwise wouldn't have if things proceeded as normal and they had the same amount of time to recover. And then also, having them play in the All-Star game, even though they weren't supposed to. Like, that was supposed to be time for these athletes to rest and recover that was taken away from them. So I understand the motivation to get the season going again and to make sure that they are still earning, the revenue that they were expecting and trying to make up for the losses that happened during that hiatus. But I also think that if you have star players like LeBron and Lamelo out, what does that mean? Are people going to be tuning in to watch the Hornets? Are they going to be tuning in to watch the Lakers with LeBron sitting out? Like, it just is kind of this, I don't know, you have to find that balance. And I think that they did sort of set themselves up for this kind of thing happening. And it sucks. It's tragic, but I don't know. I don't really have a solution. I can't even say what I think they should have done or how they should have handled it, but I do think they need to kind of own up to it, take a little bit of responsibility for what we're seeing now.
Yeah, Kevin Pryor in the chat, he says most of the players you mentioned can't use the bubble and the season star as an excuse, calls into a bigger issue. I agree with that. A lot of those players weren't even in the bubble, weren't even close to the bubble, but they still had a shortened training camp. They still, that was shortened across the board for everybody. And I think we're seeing the repercussions of that because you don't have an opportunity to really nail. A lot of these teams have a lot of new guys. There was a lot of moving pieces, a lot of new guys, and you just don't have the time to really hone in. You don't get to identify who you are as a team. You don't get to identify who you are with each other. So I still think that across the board, everyone is suffering in some way because of this modified schedule. And don't get me wrong. Again, I understand this isn't a charity case. Y'all are in this to make money. So I'm not taking away from the need to come back because of the financial hit the NBA took during COVID. I'm just saying that there had to be a better way, because when every health expert, and y'all can go and do the research yourself, but every health expert had mentioned way before we got into this mess that it would be a mess. All of them did. So when you get people who are experts in their field telling you that this is going to be a problem, I don't understand why you don't listen. That's my thing. It's not like you're getting some guy that works at In-N-Out saying, "Oh, I don't think they should do that." No, these are the health experts that work with each team telling you this is going to be a problem, and you did it anyway. So it's just one of those things that I just don't understand the logic of it. Why have these people in place if you're not going to actually listen to them and modify your plan? You still could have done it. The plan just needed to be modified. And I'm with you. I don't know what that modification is, but I think it would have been warranted to have a conversation about that. But that's all I got for what we're not going to do this Monday.
All right, Jackie, thank you so much. And you guys, that's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in and for chiming in the chat, even though sometimes you guys say things that we think is ridiculous. It's funny for us, so it gives us something to talk about. We always appreciate seeing what you have to say. We are going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you tune in, subscribe to our channel, and tap the bell for notifications so you do get a notification right when we go live. Leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, do all the things, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.